Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
Talk's friendly little proletariat uprising. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
That's how long I've been on ya.
Michigan State University is a university surrounded by very lackadaisical economic activity these days, so they have a lot of time on their hands. And they recently did a study on divorce and learned that divorce has a egregious impact on the environment. It really does bad things to Mother Nature. It does not blow sunshine up her skirt. And the study that they revealed found that divorcees, because they split up the assets and you create one more home, sucking up one more machine with one more air conditioning unit, and one more, you're using more kilowatts overall. They found in this impact study that people who divorced used 73 billion kilowatt hours more of electricity, 627 billion gallons of water more than they would have used, than they would have in 2005. Now, these have only gone up because as the economic recession has come in place, divorce has become more heated than before, and the temperature is rising.
Is
even
the water
further.
usage because one tries to drown the other?
That could be. This could be the water displacement method.
This is a water displacement method.
Yeah. It's science. It's science. Neil, I mean, if this doesn't prove that Al and Tipper Gore, that Al Gore is a hypocrite, I don't know what will. I mean, the audacity of this man to run out on his wife and kill the globe at the same time.
It happens.
It does happen. Yeah, it does happen. And sometimes you can't do anything about it. Heidi, you agree the study was worth the cost that I'm sure we paid as taxpayers to do it, or
no?
not?
No, absolutely not. But maybe it'll help people think that maybe divorce, if divorce pains the planet, really, let's face it, what divorce pains? Divorce pains children. And divorce pains the people that are involved in it, everybody that's involved in the family. I mean, there's very few instances where people should get divorced. And they get divorced just because they don't feel something anymore, when they should just wait a few weeks and it might come back. People need to stick it out. Marriage is meant to last a lifetime in most cases, and I just think there's a lot more pain involved than what the planet is experiencing.
Well, I admire
focus.
your sensitivity, I admire your sympathy, but I mean, we really do need to keep our eyes on the big picture, and it's not the children, it's the globe.
I know.
Yeah, but you kind of see it with the guy who jumped out of his moving car.
You're right.
I mean,
you push people to the limit, no telling what they can do. Speaking of stuff that's pushing people to the limit, especially in the blogosphere, the Bilderberger story, the Bilderberger gathering that has been going on since 1954, when it first started in the Netherlands at the Bilderberg Hotel, is started again last week, and some of the globe's wealthy. I did not get my invitation this year.
The audacity.
The audacity of it. It was the audacity of hope that got some people there. And, but they did get there. And here's the thing. Today's topic on this, full disclosure, is basically to just illustrate how viral a video can go online and basically see how many Alex Jones people we can get on the program in the future. So I'm going to go through a list of tags to increase our search results. I'm just going to call these out. Conspiracy theories. Trilateral Commission, Bilderbergers, One World Government, Black Helicopters, oh yes, Controlled Demolition, Birthers, Pyramid Schemes, and Little Green Men.
Hey, we have some birthers in our governor's race, they say.
Do we? Do we really want to go there? I don't know that we want to go there. Well, here's the thing. I mean, they're getting together, and quite frankly, there is some to this story, because I mean, when you look at these folks, a lot of folks that have followed this group for a very long time. It was back in the 70s that folks like David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger and several of the folks that have been on this group for a long time put together the Trilateral Convention that I mentioned, and there's a lot of discussion, just like back in the early part of the last century. We talked about the dangers of McCarthyism, and we talked about this was blowing it out of proportion, and communism was certainly not coming ashore in the U.S. We find out later through history that a lot of these things, certainly today we're realizing, a lot of these things are more legitimized than we'd originally thought. And I think that, is there a group controlling the world economy? Yeah, I think it's called the Federal Reserve. You know,
Isn't that how it started? The Federal Reserve, they went all off to Sea Island or Cumberland Island,
Jekyll Island.
Jekyll Island.
some
Yeah.
island.
Yeah, it was some island, but it.
Federal Reserve.
But the thing about it is that no, you don't need the conspiracy theory, I don't think, to explain a lot of this. When you have the International Monetary Fund meeting, the G20 meeting annually, all of these groups meeting annually, and yes, there is a definite trend that none of us can deny toward globalism today. Am I right or am I right, Heidi?
I think a lot of conspiracy theories are just distracting us and a waste of time. Now, I'd rather go to Napa Valley to the Bilderberger contest at Sutter Home and have a glass of wine. Thank you.
Double or a triple?
Double or triple?
Oh, definitely double is enough.
Definitely double. Okay. So, well, I mean, that people too get into this a lot, and I think honestly, the first thing we need to do is just turn the light on in the room when with these types of issues come up, because quite frankly, a lot of this is happening right out in the open today. And the more that we try to, I think by putting it into a conspiracy category, we delegitimize just how legitimate the impact will be.
But Joel, they went to Greece last year, and now they're in Spain.
You're right. If I'm Spain, I should be worried.
Worried.
Yes.
Worried.
Yes.
Sick.
It's-
And we're going to bail them out.
It's like, you're right. I mean, that's the thing. That's the big topic this year is what's going to happen to the euro. What's going to happen to the euro? I mean, and it's a legitimate topic. I mean, you've got a lot of these countries. You've got France. You've got Italy. All of them looking right now at just how well corporate fascism has worked for them. Neil, do you see this kind of thing as if you put it in a corner in a conspiracy category, it actually hurts us in the long run, being able to deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a conspiracy theory type thing, which I'm not really big on, but it does look like it could be one step closer to one currency going on. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got so many different folks on here, and they are major players. I mean, Paul Volcker, the U.S. Economic Recovery Advisory Board, the director there, is involved in this. And if you look down the list of folks that are currently on the Bilderberger Group, there are about 5 of them in the administration. There are about 5 of them in the administration that were part of founding the Trilateral Commission, and whose stated goal was globalism. So, call us a conspiracy theorist, if you want, but these things have been legitimized over time.
It wouldn't be prudent.
It wouldn't be prudent.
It wouldn't be prudent.
Yes, it would just. And prudence is really what we're worried about here. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we've got the debate going on right now about in the Consumer Financial Protection Agency that they are trying to create right now through legislation within the Federal Reserve. Now, the way that works, as I best understand it, is that this Consumer Protections Agency would be housed in the Fed and would be implemented by a committee of folks who actually have Wall Street interests or live on Wall Street.
Yeah, this is not a good idea. This is we're overstepping our bounds. We're putting people in places they shouldn't be. We're picking winners. We're picking losers. This is not about consumer protection. This is a bad thing. This wouldn't be prudent.
I was going to say, and for the sake of prudence, I've got to ask the congressional candidate, moving into this kind of a category, how do you handle a very sticky situation as it relates to putting more power in the hands of folks in Washington calling the shots on the private sector? This is a big part of the debate today.
We've got to start scaling back. We don't realize how many regulations are already in place that we just don't enforce. So if we were to actually enforce the laws that we've already got in place, we might find out that we're okay. Mm-hmm. But we actually just need to enforce our laws. And you see this with immigration. You would have seen this in the financial as well. The oil spill. I mean, it's all over the place. We've become complacent and lazy, and we're not implementing our laws. And we're overstepping our bounds trying to think, well, if we don't do these, then let's just overregulate over here. And it's a mistake. We need to start driving efficiency. We need to start get out of the private sector, stop competing with it, and let it thrive.
Yeah, let it do what it does organically.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hub.
Und für die ultimative und absolute Macht. Und sie zerstören jede Verfassung. Ganz gleich, wie stark die Verfassung ist.